Historic leadership change at US Naval Academy. Marine Corps General takes charge. Imagine being the trailblazer who shattered a glass ceiling, only to find yourself reassigned just as you're getting started. That's the reality for the first woman ever to command the US Naval Academy, and it's sparking intense conversations about leadership, gender, and military traditions. Now, with Pete Hegseth at the helm as Defense Secretary, a Marine Corps general is stepping in, marking a historic shift that's got people talking. But here's where it gets controversial. This change isn't just about swapping one leader for another, it's part of a larger pattern that's raising eyebrows. To set the stage, the US Naval Academy in Annapolis has been training future naval officers for almost 180 years, and until now, no Marine Corps officer has ever been tapped to lead it. That honor was held by Yvette Davids, who took charge back in January 2024. She's now being moved to a new role, with Michael Borgschulte, the current Deputy Commandant for Manpower and Reserve Affairs at Quantico, Virginia, lined up to take over. Defense officials made this official on Friday, emphasizing that this isn't a punishment or a firing, it's more like a promotion in disguise. If everything goes as planned, Davids will step into the position of Deputy Chief of Naval Operations, replacing VADM Daniel Dwyer, who's retiring. In that job, she'd be responsible for key areas like strategy, operations, planning, and how the Navy develops its combat capabilities. Davids herself sounded positive about it, saying in a statement that she's excited to keep serving with the Navy's top talent. And this is the part most people miss. While Davids' move is framed as a step up, it's happening amid a wave of changes under the Trump administration, where several high-ranking military leaders, many of them women or people of color, have been ousted. The reasoning? Officials are targeting what they call wokeness in the military, which basically means they're pushing back against efforts to promote diversity and inclusion. For example, think about ADM Lisa Franchetti, who made history as the first woman to be Chief of Naval Operations, or ADM Linda Fagan, the inaugural female Commandant of the Coast Guard. Then there's Jen Charles C.Q. Brown Jr., who was not only the first Black Chief of Staff for the Air Force, but also the second Black officer to chair the Joint Chiefs of Staff. All of them have been removed or reassigned. Earlier this year, Hegseth even let go of VADM Shoshana Chatfield, who was the U.S. military's rep to NATO's Military Committee. If you're new to this, wokeness here refers to initiatives aimed at addressing systemic biases, like increasing representation of underrepresented groups, but critics argue it distracts from core military readiness. Now, let's talk about Hegseth himself. A former Fox News host and a staunch Trump supporter, he's no stranger to controversy, especially when it comes to women in the military. Back in November on a podcast, he straightforwardly said he doesn't think women should be in combat roles, claiming it hasn't boosted effectiveness or lethality and only complicates things. He drew an analogy comparing dads who encourage risk-taking to moms who had training wheels, suggesting women are better suited for support roles rather than frontline combat. In his book, he doubled down, arguing that women can't physically match men's standards in infantry or combat positions. But, and this is where opinions really start to divide, during his Senate confirmation hearing in January, he seemed to backpedal a bit. He said he's fine with women serving as long as they meet the same rigorous standards. Later, on the Megyn Kelly show, he clarified that if women can hit those marks, he's all for it, brushing off the difference between his book and his new role by saying, writing a book is different than being Secretary of Defense. For beginners, this highlights how public figures sometimes adjust their views when facing real-world scrutiny, but it also raises questions about authenticity and whether standards are truly applied equally. But here's where it gets controversial. While Hegseth's critics see this as part of a broader agenda to roll back progress on gender equality in the military, supporters might argue it's all about merit and operational efficiency, not discrimination. After all, Borgschulte's background in Marine Corps personnel could bring a fresh perspective to the Academy. And this is the part most people miss. The debate isn't just about one replacement, it's about whether the military should prioritize tradition and physical standards over diversity initiatives. Do you think this shift will make the Naval Academy stronger, or could it set back years of advancement for women in uniform? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Agree, disagree, or share your own experiences. Now, if you have insights or stories related to this topic, you can reach out to us confidentially. Download the Guardian app and use the secure messaging feature for end-to-end encrypted tips. It's built right in and keeps things private. Or check out our guide at theguardian.com/tips for other options like secure drop, email, or phone, each with its own benefits for staying safe while sharing information. First female Superintendent of US Naval Academy reassigned, a historic leadership change. In a significant shift within the US Navy, Vice Admiral Yvette Davids, who made history as the first woman to hold the position of Superintendent at the US Naval Academy, is being reassigned, as announced by the Defense Department on Friday. This change marks a pivotal moment in military leadership, and it raises questions about the future direction of the Academy. Instead of her current role, Davids has been appointed as the Deputy Chief of Naval Operations, focusing on plans, strategy, and warfighting development, according to an official press release. This new position reflects her extensive experience and capabilities in naval operations. Taking over her responsibilities at the Naval Academy is Marine Corps Lieutenant General Michael Borgschulte, who will become the first Marine to lead this prestigious institution. This appointment is noteworthy, as it signifies a shift in leadership dynamics at the Academy, which has traditionally been led by Navy officers. Secretary of the Navy John C. Phelan emphasized the importance of the Naval Academy in shaping future leaders, stating, "The Naval Academy remains one of the most consequential institutions in American public life. It forges leaders of character, men and women of integrity, resilience, and intellect who will guide our fleet and our nation through the challenges of an increasingly contested world." This statement underscores the Academy's role in preparing individuals for the complexities of modern military challenges. Phelan further remarked on Borgschulte's qualifications, asserting, "A Lieutenant General Borgschulte is uniquely prepared to lead the next generations of naval and marine officers and ensure they are ready for the future fight." This highlights the expectations placed on Borgschulte as he steps into this critical role. Typically, superintendents at the Naval Academy serve for a minimum of 3 years, although this duration can vary. Davids, a proud graduate of the Academy's class of 1989, has been at the helm since January 2024, making her tenure relatively short in comparison to the norm. Her reassignment comes amid a broader shake-up of military leadership overseen by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. This includes the removal of several high-ranking officials, such as Joint Chiefs of Staff Air Force General C.Q. Brown Jr. and Chief of Naval Operations Admiral Lisa M. Franchetti, the first woman to serve on the Joint Chiefs of Staff. These changes have sparked discussions about the implications for military leadership and diversity. Phelan congratulated Davids on her new appointment, praising her leadership skills and experience in complex security environments. He stated, "Her strategic vision and operational depth will be an exceptional asset to the Navy and the Department of Defense, reinforcing the value she brings to her new role." In her own words, Davids expressed her gratitude for the new opportunity, stating, "I look forward to continuing to serve alongside America's strongest warfighters." This sentiment reflects her commitment to the Navy and its mission. As we witness these changes in military leadership, it prompts us to consider, what does this mean for the future of the US Naval Academy and the representation of women in military leadership? Are we moving towards a more inclusive environment, or are these changes merely surface level? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Historic first, Marine General to lead US Naval Academy. Full breakdown. In a groundbreaking development that challenges nearly 2 centuries of established norms, Marine Corps Lieutenant General Michael Borgschulte has been selected to take on the role of Superintendent at the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. This historic nomination could see him become the first Marine in the Academy's 180-year history to assume this prestigious position, a significant shift that many are eager to discuss. This exciting announcement was made on Friday by Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth as part of a wider array of military nominations. Lieutenant General Borgschulte, who currently holds the position of Deputy Commandant for Manpower and Reserve Affairs at Marine Corps Headquarters in Quantico, Virginia, is also a proud alumnus of the Naval Academy, having graduated in 1991. His nomination arrives at a time of unexpected changes in leadership within the Academy. Vice ADM Yvette Davids, the current Academy Superintendent who took charge just last year, has been put forward for another appointment but with a new role at the Pentagon. She is expected to transition into the position of Deputy Chief of Naval Operations focused on operations, plans, strategy, and warfighting development, pending the Senate's confirmation and a special waiver from Congress. "I'm genuinely honored to be nominated," Davids stated, expressing her eagerness to continue serving alongside some of the most skilled warriors in the nation. John C. Phelan, Secretary of the Navy, recognized the exemplary qualities of both nominees, referring to Borgschulte as a decorated combat leader with exceptional strategic insight and commending Davids for her strategic vision and impressive operational experience. Phelan emphasized the importance of Borgschulte's nomination, interpreting it as a strong indicator of evolving naval integration, marking a notable moment as a Marine prepares to helm the Navy's foremost officer training institution. Since its inception in 1845, the US Naval Academy has exclusively been led by Navy officers, making the nomination of a Marine Corps general a notable deviation from customary practices, signaling perhaps a broader shift towards collaborative leadership in both the Navy and Marine Corps. During his service, Borgschulte has taken on multiple leadership roles, deeply involving himself in military operations and personnel strategy. As for Davids, she has the distinction of being both the first woman and the first Hispanic individual to serve as superintendent, and her upcoming reassignment marks a potentially premature conclusion to her tenure, which traditionally lasts for 3 years before retirement. While the details surrounding her unexpected departure remain ambiguous, the Department of Defense did not specify the reasons for this sudden transition. It's noteworthy that Davids' new role requires a congressional waiver, suggesting that her next steps may be unorthodox, considering she has not yet officially retired from her current post. Their shared connection is further highlighted by the fact that Davids and her husband, Rear ADM Keith Davids, who recently retired as Commander of Naval Special Warfare, met while both were students at the Academy. As this leadership transition progresses, Fox News Digital is seeking clarification from the Navy regarding the timeline for these changes. The Senate now holds the responsibility for the nomination's fate, with no formal timeline yet established for confirmation. Borgschulte's nomination fits within a larger context of a reorganization of military leadership in the Department of Defense, which includes new vice chiefs and heads of combatant commands across the armed services. For those looking to stay updated, the Navy has directed inquiries to the DoD's official release regarding these nominations. The potential for transformation within this iconic institution raises questions about the future of military leadership and the direction it may take. Will this shift lead to more integrated approaches across the services, or does it merely reflect a momentary adjustment in leadership strategy? What are your thoughts on this unprecedented nomination? Feel free to share your insights in the comments.